All right. Me. When we saw you guys last, we were in Bocas del Toro, and now we're in Shelter Bay Marina, still in Panama. And a lot has happened between then and now.
For the longest time, we've had the goal to get to Panama and then like surf Bocas del Toro, explore the sandblast, and then from there go through the canal up to the Sea of Cortez, where we could dive and surf and fish and like have this entirely new adventure on the Pacific coast.
And the Sea of Cortez was the next hurricane season. We could get into a safe area up there for hurricane season. Instead, we had some actually really exciting life changes that rerouted us. Are we pregnant? Are we really? Is that yes? Just 2 lines mean yes? Really? Woo! We're having a baby! How do we take care of another human? You have to grow. Alright, oh jeez. Don't do that to the baby. That's crazy.
Really? Yay! Nobody knows yet. It's just a little bean. We have one of these too. We're twins. Mine looks just the same. We made you baby. Yay! And we were really hoping this video was going to be sharing the most exciting news of our lives with you. But life does what life does, and we went back and forth whether we should share this story with anyone at all. But this is our life, this is our story, this is our journey, and I think it's an important one, it's a big one, and you guys have been with us before we were even dating. With us for our hardest times when we thought we lost Jetty to a hammerhead shark.
I thought she drowned or got eaten by a shark or something. Fell off the dinghy and drowned. Oh my god. Scared.
You were with us when we got engaged.
What you doing in there?
Making lunch.
What are you doing?
Trying to stay.
Wait. I'm making lunch in Maine.
I'm trying to stay warm in Maine. This is our first stop in Maine. We just found a park. We just wanted to stop and take a little break, make some lunch, and see what Maine has to offer to start with.
I would be up waiting for you if you had to leave. I would wait a lifetime if you were at sea. I just wanna say that I feel that our love is real. Maybe we should hurry up and seal the deal.
She said yes. When we got married and
So by the power vested in me, in the first site that came up on my Google search to become an ordained minister, I now pronounce you husband and wife.
Hopefully for all the more exciting things that are happening in the future, but this is another part of our story. So yeah, we found out we were pregnant. Super shocking news. We had always told each other, like, let's just get to Panama, and then have life play out. And, you know, right when we got to Panama, we got pregnant. We spent that time in the sandblast, we spent that time in Bocas, and we found an amazing doctor in Panama City. The most amazing hospital, high-tech, kind, affordable, cannot say enough good things about it. And we had obviously our first appointment there, and then we had our 13-week appointment coming up. We had planned to leave Bocas, get to Shelter Bay in time where we could make that 13-week appointment. And
sail back from Bocas.
Yeah, sail offshore, and we had been looking for weather for like 3 weeks, because that sail from Bocas back to Shelter Bay is usually a pretty not fun one. And, you know, Mother Nature lined up for us, and we had almost like the perfect window you could possibly get. So we had already staged up to sail offshore, and we had some questions come up, texted our doctor. She responded right away. She advised not to sail offshore. She said, turn around, go to the closest hospital you can get an ultrasound in.
Because we had actually already started. We didn't get offshore, but we got, you know, all the way down, 12 miles down from Bocas, just kind of staging ourselves to hop offshore actually the next morning. And when, there were some complications, and that's what she advised. So the day we were supposed to go, and the doctor said, definitely don't go offshore. It was Sunday. The hospital wasn't answering. We couldn't get in touch with the hospital. It's a small hospital in Bocas. It's not a big city hospital or anything like that. Anyway, I went to scout out the hospital, so I took the dinghy 12 miles back up from town. We didn't want to have Sierra in the dinghy for that trip, especially if the hospital was closed, because it was a little bit of a rough ride. And I got to Bocas, I got a cab to the hospital, checked out the hospital, and at first, actually, everything looked closed. There was no one there. Then our friend Laura, thank you so much, Laura, for all her help, they also are on the sailboat there in Bocas, and she speaks Spanish. They were very familiar with the area. And she said, oh no, go this way. You should be able to find someone here in this door. And sure enough, I did, and there were people there. And they said yes, actually, they checked with the doctor, and there was someone who could do an ultrasound, and they were going to be there a little bit later.
Meanwhile, while Billy was on the hunt trying to find out if that hospital was open, Laura and I were communicating back and forth, trying to figure out if that one's not open, what's the closest one we can get to, how do we get there, where do we leave the boat. There's a hospital where you have to take a water taxi to, and then a taxi. It's 4 hours away. We're trying to figure out plan B and C in case the Bocas hospital was not open. And mind you, at this point, I'm feeling totally fine. This is just in case, let's just make sure. I don't think anything's wrong, but we just need to confirm before you go sail offshore. Make sure that when you're off for 24 hours, you're not in need of an ER. So I wasn't really super worried, and we just wanted to double check everything. Obviously, if that was her advice, we're going to take it, and we're going to make sure everything's all good.
While you guys were going through plans B and C and D, I got the confirmation that they were open. There was a doctor there who could do a sonogram, and so I dinghied all the way back to the boat, 12 miles, and then we motored this boat, the big boat, back up to Bocas. So it took us a few hours, and anchored, went to shore, got a cab, went to the hospital.
And then when we got to the hospital, you had already confirmed all this stuff, and we get in there, and they're like, no, like, if it's not an emergency, like, we don't need to see you. And I had to, like, explain what was going on multiple times, and after all these hours and all these, like, confirming and all of your dinghy trips, it seemed like they weren't going to see us. And it was all, again, language barrier, confusion. After 5 times going back and forth, they finally said, okay, we'll see you.
It is actually kind of an emergency.
Yes, it is an emergency. So they took me back. They would not let Billy come back, which I think is just custom in this hospital or this area. I'm not sure. I went back with them, and they checked to make sure they needed to do an ultrasound, which they did. And that ultrasound tech did not speak any English, so I kind of had the doctor as another doctor as a translator. And I'm not great at Spanish, you guys have seen that, but I know certain words. So they're doing this ultrasound, and I can pick up on small, I can pick up on 9, and I was like, what's going on? And I can see the picture, and obviously the picture doesn't quite look like what I think the picture should look like at 13 weeks. So that tech was explaining to the doctor, who could translate it for me for like 20 minutes, just like explaining everything. So I just had to sit there and try to pick up on these words, and then he explained to me that we cannot find a heartbeat, and the size is only showing 9.5 weeks when it should be 13 weeks, and you have had a miscarriage. So I had to take all of that information in another language, in a foreign country, without you with me, and that was probably the hardest part. An hour went by before Billy could come back, and then they kind of explained to us that if more complications arose, we can help you, but we can't help you to the level that you probably want to be helped. We don't have an anesthesiologist, we don't have certain pain meds, we don't have all of this, so they highly recommended going to a different hospital, and they recommended either David or Panama City. So then we had to kind of make the decision where we wanted to go. David is a water taxi, and 4-hour car ride away, and what do we do with Jetty and the boat? And Panama City is a flight, but there was no flights left where Jetty could come as well. So we went back and forth with those options and ultimately decided that I would fly, because again, I'm in no pain, nothing's wrong. So we were hoping my body could hold out and we could go see the doctor we had been seeing in the hospital that we really like. Because
that was another reason, like, we really loved and trusted our doctor there in Panama City, and we knew the hospital and how just really clean and the standards that everything was there. And she was answering right away. She said, I could make you an appointment tomorrow. We can have a procedure scheduled right after the appointment if it's necessary. So she had been able to take care of all of that, like, immediately, again on a weekend. And we just decided that the 4-hour car ride is not through city, it's through like jungle, so like if something went wrong, we're not in a good situation there either. And we decided that you would take the boat with Jetty back to Shelter Bay, where he could be in a car ride away from the hospital and the doctor and all of that. And we crossed our fingers and prayed and hoped that everything would just hold out until you got back. The next morning, that's what we did. Sierra got on a plane, Sierra flew to Panama City, and I got the boat ready, and Jetty and I left, and we headed offshore. It was going to be an overnight for us, about 24 hours and change, to Shelter Bay Marina, which is here, which is about an hour car ride from Panama City, where the hospital is, where our doctor is. And that you flew into Panama City, got a hotel room. Yeah, and I was able to get a hotel room 5 minutes away from the hospital. Checked in, was able to talk to you. We have Starlink, so we could talk all night long. Was able to talk to my friends. They were there with me, helping me out over the phone. And you were supposed to get in at like 12 that afternoon, and we had an appointment at 2. So if everything did go right, it would have been so smooth, but it didn't. And I ended up needing to check myself into the emergency room at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Luckily, again, our doctor answered the phone at 4 o'clock in the morning. At our first appointment, she gave us her personal number, and she said, just if you guys have any questions, just keep me up to date. Any emergencies, just feel free to text or call me. And at this point, she knew what was going on because she had all the information that the other hospital had, and her appointment was, she wanted to confirm what they saw and just make sure everything was the same, so that's why our other appointments were scheduled. But yeah, so I did need to call her at 4 o'clock in the morning. She did advise to go to the ER, and had to do that all by myself, which was really scary, but I did it, and she showed up almost immediately, and she did everything she needed to do, and by the time I was out of the operating room, I took an Uber back to the hotel, and by the time I woke up from a nap, you were there. So timing worked out as well as it could have. I'm so glad we went to Panama City. I wouldn't have wanted to do that with any other doctor. What if that happened on our drive, or... Yeah, I mean, I think it worked out probably as well as it could have in that situation. I think it probably was the right decision. You're right. I think you were the most comfortable you could have been with her, and with knowing that Jetty was in the boat, because you guys have been here for a while. You know, Jetty's a very special dog. Really, the only people that can watch her are our families or like a certified dog trainer, which are not around here. And
that would have been more stressful for me if she was with someone we didn't know, even though so many kind people offered, which is amazing. So that was that decision, and I think it was a good one. We both did everything we could do. And a lot of you are probably wondering, why on earth are we talking about this? This topic is like traditionally pretty taboo, and I get it. It is horrible and it's traumatizing and it's scary and sad and really hard. But that also makes it so the people that are going through it feel pretty alone because nobody talks about it. It's all hush hush. I'm 30. I can name probably 50 people that I went to high school with right now that are pregnant. I scroll on social media and it's pretty much all pregnancy announcement, pregnancy announcement, pregnancy announcement, and I feel so alone. But a friend from high school posted something and she explained her journey that she's on, and it's a similar one to us, different but similar, and it made me feel so much less alone. So I figured if we could brave up and talk about this, it might help someone else.
We did learn through this process like how common miscarriages are. I think it's something we didn't really realize, which made it a little, even harder. We just saw our doctor the other day for a checkup, and she said 1 in every 4 pregnancies end in a miscarriage. Doesn't really make it any easier. We could say we were lucky that we weren't further along, and maybe it was a genetic or something was wrong, and it's actually better that it happened than progressing further and then
happening later. We talked a little bit about it. I had gotten the flu, and then we didn't show this at all, but I also got this really bad stomach virus. It wasn't morning sickness, it was a stomach virus, and I didn't think I was even gonna survive that. So in my heart I was like, how is this little thing gonna survive it? But after got all that out, it felt totally normal, still had all the pregnancy symptoms, and I actually did take a pregnancy test right before this appointment because we know it is common. I just didn't want to be caught off guard in the appointment, so I took it positive. Was feeling good, and yeah. Other things to know is I think we're pretty freaking good team.
Yes. You're so brave and strong.
Not once did Billy ever make me feel like it was my fault. And I know that's a really hard thing for a lot of women because a lot of people don't know why it happens, and generally it is just your body doing what your body's doing to protect you and this little baby. But yeah, having a good support system is so awesome. And some other things we want to talk about was...
You did share it. You decided, for the same reasons that we mentioned here, that you were going to share it, and you did share it on Instagram. I mean, even me directly received a ton of support, but just in general, we received just an incredible amount of love and support and kind messages and everything from you guys and from all our friends and family. So just really appreciative of all that.
And again, I was questioning whether we should talk about this, but that kind of helped us get the courage to do this on video. Is I got so many messages thanking me for talking about it because so many people feel alone, and so many people have gone through the same thing, and they're like, this helped. This really, really helped reading this and hearing about it. Yeah, at least it felt good to hopefully help someone.
In the big picture of things, when we found out we were pregnant, we had to decide, if we were going to stick to our normal plan of heading up to the Sea of Cortez or change plans, and we knew that we could have the baby anywhere, right? People have babies all around the world, all these villages and towns in Central America. And we could have stayed here in Panama and had the baby in Panama City and just hung out here for the next 9 months.
Which we highly considered because,
absolutely.
Again, love the hospital, love the doctor. The prices are so affordable. We got quoted, $800 for full-on delivery, hospital stay, all of that jazz. So highly consider that. And then our other options were...
Yeah, we could have went up to the Sea of Cortez and seen doctors, monthly along the way, and then potentially put the boat up for hurricane season, and then rented a car and driven back to Florida and had the baby there, or up into California, had the baby there, or even in Mexico if we wanted to. Or we could have went back to Florida and then brought the boat up to North Carolina for hurricane season, just where its insurance wants it to be, a little bit more north, and then had the baby somewhere on the East Coast. And that is what we decided to do. Another factor in all this is that the boat is going to go through another big warranty period. They're going to redo a lot of the non-skid decks, and ultimately that was going to be the easiest and smoothest on the East Coast of the United States. So that was a little bit into our decision as well.
And I did always have this little bit of fear in the back of my mind of doing that trip from Panama up to Mexico, because we do have to see a doctor every month, and that's fine if everything goes smooth. Doctors are easy to find. However, if everything doesn't go smooth, like, we could have been offshore of Nicaragua or El Salvador, and, like, again, what do we do with our dog and the boat, and are you going to a good hospital with good doctors and high sanitary standards and all this stuff? So we had talked to our doctor about that, and she's like, yeah, that's totally doable. I can set you up with a whole kit if you need anything. You'll have what you need in order to get to a hospital, but again, it's still a little bit of am I putting myself and our baby in danger doing that? Again, if everything goes smooth, you're totally not.
And if it doesn't go smooth, then
it's possible.
Yeah, most likely everything will end up alright. There's a small percentage that it could go wrong, there and maybe not go wrong somewhere else, or ultimately, besides that, it's more of a matter of comfort and, how comfortable do we feel and how stressed are we and stuff like that if things start to go wrong in these more remote Central America places.
So I was already like a little concerned about that, but I think this whole situation didn't give us a wake-up call, but definitely helped me see that, hey, next time we do just want to have a solid plan of where are the doctors, how are we going to get there, what is this hospital like, do they have the appropriate team and medications if we need them. So yeah, that was that, and we did, end up decide to go to North Carolina, because the other big main factor that leads us that way is when we have a baby, there's lots of grandparents that want to be around. So that was a big factor, and we were like, yeah, let's go. We have never spent a hurricane season in North Carolina. We always shoot straight up to New England, and we were getting excited about it.
So now, the scenario we're in now, we've decided we're going to just stay on that route and actually still go back, that way. We're not going to go through the canal yet. I think at some point in the future we will be back on the West Coast. I really do want to explore the Sea of Cortez. We want to get back to the Pacific Northwest, potentially, be in French Polynesia or that side of the world at some point in the future. But right now, this season is not the time for that, and that's alright. So we're going to head back to the East Coast, probably stop in like the Bay Islands of Honduras along the way, Guanaja or Roatan.
Cross your fingers for lots and lots of whale sharks.
There's some whale sharks in that area. And then we'll cruise back up the coast, head to North Carolina, be pretty safe, hopefully, for hurricane season, and get, this boat, the last of this boat's warranty work squared away.
And we did have another little adventure that was also pushing us that way. You guys watched us do the Everglades Challenge a couple years ago.
Last tack into the finish.
They have another challenge in North Carolina, so when we found out we were going to be there anyways, we were like, ooh, you think I could do that pregnant? You think I'll fit in the boat? And we have no idea if it was going to work. However, now it's going to work. So I think we're going to do it.
Yeah, we're going to get the canoe, the outrigger sailing canoe from Sierra's parents' house. We'll spend some time there, we'll do a little training in it, and then we'll somehow get it up to North Carolina and do, I think it's called the Blackbeards Challenge.
There's only one way I know of to resolve that. Pistols and swords.
It's a 300-mile adventure race around Beaufort, Alligator River, Albemarle, Pamlico Sound, or Pamlico, yeah. And, I think we're gonna do it. So that'll be fun. Definitely some things to look forward to. I think we're in a pretty good scenario, as hard and challenging as that all was.
We have a big support team. We couldn't be more grateful. Thank you for being on this journey. Thank you for being the best.
No, thank you for being the best and strong and resilient.
And hopefully someday we'll be able to have a baby. Just not in September.
I love you.
I love you.
We'll see you guys later.
Thanks for listening. I forgot I wanted to talk about one more thing. You guys, obviously, over the past 11 years have noticed that we, Billy and I, and Jetty, do absolutely everything together. Big decisions, small decisions, everyday decisions we make as a team, which is awesome and I'm so grateful for. We do everything as a team, but in this situation, we did have to separate and we both had to do our own things. And you know, Billy, he's amazing at everything and he's so confident and smart and skilled and he did just fine on that sale. But I think it was also really good for me to know that I could do all of that myself. I had to communicate with the doctors, I had to communicate with the finance people at the hospital, I had to get my own ride to and from the ER and just all of the things that come along with being in a really scary health situation. I didn't have anyone there with me, so not that it was a good thing, but it was an empowering thing knowing that I could do that because we don't have to do things separate, like ever. I don't know. A little proud of
so good.
a little proud of myself for that, but also I know a lot of you guys out there watching are watching because you want to go live a totally unique off-the-grid lifestyle and hard things are going to happen, but here's a reminder that you can do them with your partner, without your partner, and make it happen. So thanks for watching.